So today we're going to be harvesting some oats. And we have a couple tools here that we're going to be using. We have a long scythe, we have a shorter scythe, and then we have some hand sickles. We have a longer one, we have a nice tight curve, and then we have a serrated blade sickle. So we're going to be using this to cut the oats down with the stalks and everything so they can finish drying, because the birds have come, the blackbirds, and they're starting to just take all the seeds that they can. They don't care if it's not perfectly dried. So we're gonna sheave them up like you would think in the old times. You've seen the stacks of grain, bundle them up. We're gonna put them in the truck and we're gonna take them for now just so they're out of the rain, because we're gonna get some rain into our little greenhouse, just to say. It can be in a shed, it can be anywhere, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna bundle them up, cut them down, and then once they're dry, we'll thrash them out. So we're out here at the oats, and you can see that these oats are starting to really dry. Some of the ones on the outside of the block here are a little bit green, but we have one problem, and they're actually coming back right now, is the blackbirds. They are coming and they're shelling out a bunch of the wheat, or the oats. So if I can show here, these are completely empty on top. And on the ground, you can actually see all the hulls that they're leaving behind. And that's how much they've actually all come and picked off of here. So we're gonna start cutting this. And there's many ways of doing this. So we have a couple of scythes here. We have a long blade, which will be a little bit harder to keep straight when you're talking about a hard stalk. This is a little better for hay or grass or something like that. So today, to make it a little bit easier, we're gonna start with this scythe. And this one's got a thicker blade. It's a little bit shorter, so we can be a little bit more precise and cut a little easier. And this is very sharp. Also, a couple of the tools we have is the hand sickles, and we'll do a little bit of harvesting with this, because this can actually go quite fast as well. These are very nice and sharp. We'll just grab a bunch and we'll cut, and then we can lay it to the side. So let's start with the scythe. And we don't want to take too much in a big chunk. If we try take a lot, we're not going to be able to cut it very nicely. So now I'm going to switch tools. We have these two sickles here, and we can be a little bit more precise and take in handfuls of the oats. So we'll just grab a little, cut it off, and set it down. Now, when you plant the seed, you don't just get one stalk and then however many seeds are on that stalk. What you get is the whole bunch. So I'm gonna pull up, try and get a good example here. So this is actually one oat plant. And you can see that there is 4 tillers. Each of these is called a tiller. 4 stalks, and each of them is full of oats. So you can see how many oats you're actually getting from one seed. You can get 50-fold. Remember, the Bible says 50-fold, some 70-fold, some 100-fold. And so some of these, you're gonna have 100 seeds from just the one seed that you're getting down here. And if I take the dirt away, you'll see that all this is connected as one plant, and it's just all coming from the same root. So that's a good thing to know, that you're not getting one stalk from one seed, you're getting a whole plant. And there can be 4, there can be 6 tillers. So for example, we'll pull up this one. How many tillers do we have here? So we have 1 with a head, 2, 3, 4, that guy's not really count as much, 5, 6. So this has 6 on it, and we have a lot of nice oats on top. So you can get 4 to 6 tillers at least, depending on how close you plant it together. I gave quite a decent space. You can see between the plants, there's a little couple inches between when each seed went in and started to grow. But this was nice that when you space the row, then the weeds don't come up, because they start growing and there's too much shade, the weeds don't come. You can see that there's no weeds growing in the actual block of oats because they're close enough together, and they're nice, strong, healthy plants. So now that we have nice little bundles or sheaves of our oats, we need to actually bundle them together. So in order to do that, all we're gonna do is take a few of the stalks, and we're gonna use this to tie everything together. So we'll lift up our bundle here, bring it around. This might be a little bit too big of a bundle for how long our stalks are. Just twist it around and wrap, and there we have a beautiful sheave of oats. So now we're gonna take this, we're gonna put it on the truck, and I'm gonna show you what the oats actually look like inside. So now we're gonna take a look at the actual oats. And if we see the heads here, we see what the bird kind of did. It's a little bit empty on top. But we still have these nice oats here on the bottom. So we'll open up a couple of these. Now, you can just roll it in your hand like that. Blow away the chaff. Then we can see we have a couple nice grains of oats here. And I'm going to take the hull off because these have a little bit of a hull. And now you can see just the pure oat grain. So right there, we have a couple nice little oats. We'll do another. So now with steel cut oats, this would just be put through a machine that's cutting them across. With rolled oats, it's just rolled right over top. And with quick oats, it's rolled and cut. That's the only difference. There's no nutritional difference between them. Some cook faster. It doesn't change anything. Just depends on what you're wanting to do. So we're gonna try do some quick little rolled oats just with a little pipe here. And we're gonna roll slowly across, and we're gonna see what we get here. So that's better. So now you can see that that looks quite like the rolled oats that you would get at the store as rolled oats. And you can take that and you can cook that up, and it's just like your oat porridge. You can get little hand crank rollers, and you just take your oats, put it in the top, crank it, and it'll roll them out just like that. So now we'll take these sheaves, we'll stand them up to dry, and then once they're dry, we'll be able to thrash them out, which is basically removing all the seeds off the heads, and then they'll be ready to use. So now, do you remember in the Bible, in the story of Ruth, Boaz's field, they were harvesting, and then she was going behind and picking up things that was left. And that's things like this. The extra little stalks that didn't get thrown into the nice sheaf. And this was meant for the people who were poor or were not as fortunate, that they could come to any farmer's field, and any of the little grains that were left behind, they could come and gather and get food. So these little things, and in order to do that, they had to grow enough that these little stalks didn't matter. So we need to keep that in mind, especially that in the times coming, when we might not be able to have food or buy and sell food, that we need to be growing enough that we have for ourselves, and then there's some extra for people that might be in need. So you see how it doesn't take that long to do a little block of oats like this. And you see right behind me, there is some beautiful, beautiful wheat growing. And probably in a couple days, we're gonna go and start harvesting, scything, sickling the wheat down, and we can do a video of that as well and show you the process for the wheat. But for now, we've cut it down, we have our sheaves, we're gonna go stack them up so that they can finish drying. And if you liked this video, and you want to see more how to country videos on how to become self-sustaining with your food and other things, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you shortly.